welcome to a very special Pyro gaming video. For those of you who don't know, I live in Houston, Texas, and Houston, Texas this past week was absolutely bombarded with rain, and the floods in Houston were record highs. Now, I did not personally get it as bad as a lot of other Houstonians did, but I did get enough water in my house to where I had to pretty much demo everything in the bottom 2 feet of my house. So we're going to do a quick walkthrough real quick, and then towards the end of the video I'm going to explain a few things to you guys just so that you know what's really going on in Houston. So this is my house. This is where my wife, myself, and my daughter live, and this was our dining room. We had to rip out the sheetrock, like I said, 2 feet high, and the insulation for the exterior facing walls. Had to remove all furniture from up against the walls. A lot of furniture had to be thrown away. This is actually my front yard, and you can see the amount of shit that is out there by the road. That's carpet, tile, sheetrock, insulation, furniture, clothes, vacuum cleaner, just all kinds of random shit out there waiting for a trash truck or garbage truck to come pick it up, because there's nothing you could do with it. I mean, if the flood water touches it, there's so many diseases and nasty things in that flood water, you don't want it in your house. So if the water touches it, it's gone. It's garbage. And we got about 6 inches of water in here. The water line in our house was up to about right there. So anything below that mark is trash. And in the case of the sheetrock, because it absorbs, 12 inches above that is trash. So moving into our kitchen, in the kitchen, the cabinets are going to have to come out because, you know, it's basically just a box keeping stuff in. So what I did was I peeled the front of the bottom of it off, and I drilled a couple holes back behind it so that it can get some air to it. But until an insurance adjuster comes and looks at the cabinets, we can't rip them out because they're connected to the marble slab. And because the marble slab is high up enough to where it's not touched by the water, the insurance company won't pay to replace that. So if we rip the cabinets out and this gets broke, it's on us. And if you've never had a marble countertop, they are fucking expensive. So we're just waiting on that, and we're just gonna let it sit there until the insurance adjuster makes it over here. So moving on with the kitchen, cabinets. This is the bar area. You can see I got my tools there and some random things to do stuff with. Here's our dishwasher. I don't know if it's gonna have to be replaced yet. This area was like another little dining area. We had a table set up here. This is where we ate most of our meals. And then that room over there, the dining room, that was more of like a formal dining room. Whenever we would have guests over for parties or stuff like that, we had a big table in there that could seat 8. This is our pantry. Forgot to show you that. This is our pantry with all of our food and stuff that we haven't thrown away, but probably will need to. Moving on, here's my gaming chair, guys. Here's my computer chair. That's gonna have to get thrown away because that's all tubing down there at the bottom, so water probably got inside of it. I mean, it was $100. I don't give a shit. Throw it away. I'd rather buy a new one instead of set in fucking mold, you know? Because that's the main thing with these floods. It's not necessarily that the water damages what it touches. It's the mold. It's the mildew. There's E. coli and sewage in this water because it's all flooding from everywhere. So, I mean, you have to get rid of it, man. You have to. So moving on, here's a little hallway here. To our right, we have the laundry room, which is where those will go, or were at, the washer and dryer. If we open up the laundry room here, we will see a garage that is just packed to the gills with shit that we're gonna throw away. So, like, this is our couch, our love seat, all that stuff. This is a pile of doors, guys. Pile of fucking doors. More furniture over there, more, you know, sofa and shit like that over there. All trash, just all trash. We just have to keep this in here until the insurance adjuster looks at it so that they can appraise it and we can get it replaced. So, moving on, back in the house here. We go over here into the hallway again, and we see the guest bathroom. Again, everything ripped out. We got a mattress and a tub because the water didn't get high enough to get into the tub, so the tub's essentially like a big bowl. So everything in the tub was clean, so we're using it for storage space. We have more cabinets here. These have another slab on it that we're not going to mess with until the insurance adjuster looks at it. And moving on, we have my daughter's bedroom that her crib is going to have to be thrown away because flood water got on it. I'm not putting my baby in flood water. Let's get this thing to adjust again. What are you doing here, camera? There we go. But yeah, damaged stuff that we're just storing until the insurance adjuster looks. Closet ripped out, that stuff ripped out. Here's another bedroom. Same thing, everything ripped out, everything ripped out. Here's the outside of the bar, everything ripped out here too. And we move on to the living room. This is all the living room here. The living room is where we're storing most of the furniture right now because the living room is the biggest room in the house. And we have a very open floor plan. So, I mean, this is like 40 feet from where I'm standing to that door. I know the camera doesn't really do it much justice, but it's a really big open area. So that's why we're stacking all of our furniture here, like from our bedrooms and stuff like that. You know, because it's big stuff and it's really heavy, really well made. Made out of oak. So, yep, this is all of our stuff just kind of packed up in here. There's the backyard. Backyard's fine. Over here we have our fireplace. Fireplace is going to have to be ripped out and replaced, as is the tile in front of the fireplace. So this is a gas fireplace with an electric start, and it actually kept coming on by itself when I cut the power back on in the house, because all the electrical components are down there in that little opening that you see at the bottom, and they most definitely got flood damage. Here we have our 65-inch Vizio TV, or not Vizio, what is it, Sharp Aquas, I think? Yeah, Sharp Aquas. You can see that up there. It's fine, it was up high enough, no big deal. But, you know, more stuff that might be trash, we might keep it, I don't fucking know. So moving on with our tour, we have a big fan. Over here we have a closet. This is just a little hall closet, and then we move on to the master bedroom. This is my bedroom, this is my bed. Me and my wife sleep here on this king-size bed. This mattress was very, very expensive. Now, luckily, the water did not actually come up high enough to touch the mattress itself, but it stinks. This fucking mattress stinks because it's half memory foam, half spring, so that memory foam is just absorbing every smell in this fucking house. So I'm really hoping that insurance will let me fucking claim that mattress and get a new one, because that was like a $2,000 mattress, man. We paid a lot of fucking money for that. And right now, all it's being used for is a storage shelf for half of my wife's clothes. Not even lying, guys. Half of my wife's clothes. She is a bit of a hoarder when it comes to clothes. It's fucking ridiculous. Here's my gaming desk, or what it was. It used to be over here in this corner by the router. And, yeah, I'm gonna have to throw that away, because that down there's tubing, and water most definitely got inside that tubing, so trash. There's a trampoline outside my window. Moving on to the master bedroom, or master bathroom, rather. We have a stand-up shower here that's probably going to have to be ripped out and cleaned out. You can see that it is ceramic tile set up against rock board, and the tile down there at the bottom where the water would have been is starting to peel off the rock board, so that's probably going to have to be ripped out and replaced. Here we have a Whirlpool tub that all the electrical components for this tub are behind this door right here, sitting on the ground. Now, the reason that I haven't opened this up yet is because this is a polymer tub, and this is like just a big thick slab. So you gotta like do a precision cut right down here to get that door off and not mess with the tub. So I'm not even touching that. My vision's bad. I'm not gonna fuck with it. I'm gonna let a professional do that. We did everything else. A professional could do that shit. Here we have our dual vanity. That's my wife's sink. That's my sink over there in the corner. And there's some stuff, you know, whatever. These cabinets will have to come out just like the other ones, but for the same reasons, you know, like with this countertop, I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to let a professional do it. Here is our closet. You can see how big our closet is. This section right here, like from this little belt thing and onward, that's my section. Like it fits in one screen. That's my section of the closet. So all my clothes go here, and then all the rest of this is my wife's. And we actually had to we had another rack in here like this one down here lower that we had to take out to cut out the sheetrock. My wife, like I said, is a hoarder when it comes to clothes. It is pretty ridiculous. Up here, this is where I'm storing some stuff. Got my guitar up there, I got my Destiny poster book up there, and hard hat, because I work in refineries, and a cowboy hat, because I live in Texas. It's kind of mandatory. Bunch of shoes, stuff like that. This right here looks like a lot of shoes, guys. It does. Like, if somebody looked at that, it's like, man, your wife's got a lot of shoes. That ain't shit. This whole shelf right here was packed to the gills with my wife's shoes. She is a hoarder when it comes to clothes. It's ridiculous. So, that's the tour. Now let's talk about my week, because I know you guys have been asking me. You've been very concerned with me on Twitter, and I absolutely appreciate it, man. I really and truly do. But honestly, guys, I am fine. A lot of this stuff I did myself. So to give you a timeline of events that happened, Monday is when the flooding occurred. At 6 p.m. on Monday night, I was standing in my truck, in the bed of my truck, because the waters were getting up to be about waist deep. Now, unfortunately, it didn't get waist deep inside the house. It just stayed down there. But out by the road, it was waist deep. So I made the decision to go ahead and evacuate. And the way that I did that was I took off walking in the water. I walked through about half a mile to a mile, somewhere in that area, of waist-deep water at the shallowest end, and at some points when I crossed the street and got into the deepest parts of the water, it was up to my chest. Now, you should never, ever do that, guys. I was fighting a current the entire time I was walking. You should never do that. You stay put and wait to be rescued. The only reason that I felt comfortable walking through waist-deep and chest-high floodwaters with the current is because I used to be a firefighter in a river community, and we had to do swiftwater rescue training all the time. So I know how to stand in water. I know how to brace myself in water. I know how to keep my footing in water. And that's the only reason that I did it. Never, ever do what I did unless you had the training that I did. Okay? I cannot stress that enough. So that was Monday at about 6 p.m. By the time I left, water had already got inside my house. It was starting to creep in the front door over here, and it was starting to creep in the back door over here, as well as leaking onto the floors from underneath every window in the house. So I left, I got out, I got to safety. I ended up going and staying at my uncle's house, which lives about 15 minutes from here. And then on Tuesday, the water finally started to go down. The banks of the river started to recede. The water was back into its shores, and luckily everything in the house drained out. I got back into my house on Tuesday afternoon of this week at around 3 or 4. As soon as I opened that door and I walked in here, it smelled like fucking mildew. It smelled like nasty fucking mildewed carpet, because all of this was carpeted. Every bedroom was carpeted. The only place that had tile was the kitchen and part of that little walkway over there. Everything else was carpet. So within the first 5 minutes of me coming into my house, I'd already pulled out my pocket knife and started cutting carpet out of my living room to get it out of my house as quickly as possible. Now, this is where the story takes a really good turn. As I was dragging, because it was only me and my wife here. My wife was packing stuff up, in the closets and stuff like that, while I was tearing up the carpet and dragging it out that door to the road. That big pile that I showed you a second ago. While I was dragging it to the road, a truck pulled up in front of my house with about 5 or 6 guys in it that I had never met in my life. And they said, "Hey, we live in your neighborhood. Our houses did not flood. We see that you're pulling carpet. Do you need help?" I'm not proud enough to say no, honestly. I'm not gonna say, nah, I'm just gonna rip out 2,000 square feet of carpet by myself. Get the fuck out of here. No, I said absolutely. Absolutely, I would very much love and appreciate your help. This was about 4:30 in the afternoon. These 5 guys that I had never met in my life were in this house ripping out carpet until about 11 o'clock at night. Every bit of carpet was out of this house the first day. And it was because 5 people just happened to drive by and be super kind and super considerate and super nice. And they helped out a stranger, because I was a stranger to them. They were a stranger to me. It's people helping people, and it was fucking beautiful. So that was Tuesday. On Wednesday, I came back to the house, and I finished peeling up the tile and stuff like that in the kitchen, and then I started bleaching these floors with a mop. And because you have to kill the mold. Bleach kills mold and mildew. So I had to bleach every single surface of this floor all throughout this house. Everywhere that you see this slab of concrete had to be bleached to kill the mold and mildew and prevent it from growing. Because like I said earlier, that's your number one concern. So as I was doing that, my wife, who is a teacher, got a phone call from one of her coworkers. And she said, "Hey, we heard what happened to your house. We want to help." The entire 4th grade teaching staff at my wife's school showed up to this house unannounced just to help. They brought water, they brought food, they brought cleaning supplies. They helped us clean the bottoms of our furniture that were touched by the water. They helped rip up linoleum. They helped Clorox the floors. Just beautiful. Fucking beautiful, man. Thursday, we come back to the house and we start ripping out baseboards. Baseboards, for those of you who don't know, are the boards. They kind of look like this, like the door frame boards, but they run at the bottoms of the walls. So we started ripping those out, as well as continuing to pack all of our stuff up, because like I said, everything had to be moved. And while we were doing that, the entire time, there are people constantly knocking on my front door. People that I've never met in my life. People that I've never seen in my life. Knocking on my front door, right over there, offering us food, offering us supplies, offering us help, offering us tools, offering us everything that we could possibly need to recover from this, and asking nothing in return. It's fucking beautiful. So Friday, which was yesterday, because I'm recording this on Saturday, Friday, we didn't really do much, honestly. We had contractors in and out of here. We had to have somebody come in and give us a quote to rip all this stuff out, give us a quote to come back in and rebuild it. We had somebody come check out appliances, somebody come check out our air conditioner. We had contractors in and out of here all day. So because of that, like I said, we didn't really do any work. But we were planning on getting the sheetrock going today, which is Saturday. So we started asking our friends and family, hey, if you don't mind, could you come help us? Because it was going to be me, my wife, and my father-in-law, which is my wife's dad. We were going to have 3 people to rip out sheetrock 24 inches high in a 2,000 square foot house by ourselves. So my wife posted a post on Facebook. It said, hey, we have 3 people. We have, our house is this size. We need to rip out 24 inches of sheetrock. Can anybody help? It got shared around. That post bounced around and around and around, and eventually it was seen by somebody who is a member of a church that is up at the front of our neighborhood. And there's a church right outside of our neighborhood. A church that we don't go to. All right? A church that we do not go to. We don't know anybody that goes to that church. But that church saw my wife's post, and today, Saturday, they sent over 20 people to come in here and rip all of this out for us. I mean, 20 fucking people, man. Like, men, women, and children, families that just want to go out and help people. They don't want anything in return. They don't care what fucking color you are, what race you are, where you're from, where you're going, what your past was. They don't fucking care if you have a Confederate statue. They don't fucking care if you have a Confederate flag. They don't fucking care. Because you're a person, they're a person, and they want to fucking help you. And I hate to say this. I honestly do. I hate to say this, but this fucking country needed what happened to Houston. And the reason being is, like I said, I hate to say it because so many people have lost so much in this flood. We have flood insurance. We're going to bounce right back from this. My neighbor right next door, which is an elderly woman in her 70s, did not have flood insurance and she lost everything. My other neighbor directly across the street is a disabled man who just this last November had 3 fucking strokes back to back to back. He can no longer walk. He has lost complete use of the entire left side of his body, and he does not have flood insurance. They have lost everything. Everything. Their lives will never be the same after this. And you know what? Like I said, I feel bad for saying this, but this country needed this because it is like a slap in the face to America saying, wake up, this right now, what is happening in Houston is what's important. Not whatever Trump's doing, not what's going on in Russia, not any bullshit regarding what your political party is, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, fucking cornholer, I don't fucking care. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Mexican, Chinese, Asian, it doesn't fucking matter. People matter. People fucking matter. And Houston is proving that every day since this storm fucking devastated the city. Now, it bugs the shit out of me that on the news, the national broadcast, CNN, NBC, blah, 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 all they're showing is the devastation to Houston. They're showing you stuff like this. Oh man, these people had to take stuff out of their house. They lost their couch. You know, this guy died. That's all they're showing you. They're not showing you the 20 fucking strangers that came into my house to rip out my sheetrock for me. They're not showing you the fucking people that are driving around this neighborhood, fucking passing out food, passing out water, passing out everything that you could possibly need to recover from this. They're not showing you that. I guess that doesn't make good news. But I want you guys to do something for me. I do. I want you to get online and I want you to Google Mattress Mac. Mattress like a bed, Mac like a Mac truck. Google Mattress Mac and just read the stories. Because that is happening all over Houston. All over the fucking place. We're getting these amazing people that want nothing in return than to help people. In Houston, Texas right now, if you wanted to come down here and volunteer for relief efforts, you have to be put on a waiting list because there are too many people volunteering. There's so many people volunteering that there's not enough work to keep everybody busy that wants to volunteer. There is a fucking waiting list to volunteer, guys. And that is fucking beautiful. I've never in my life, prior to this week, been the victim of a natural disaster. I've always been the firefighter, the EMT, the rescue technician that is deployed to areas to assist others who have been affected by natural disasters. Hurricane Rita in 2005, I was in the fire department and I was dispatched down to Bolivar and Galveston to assist in body recoveries and searches. In Hurricane Ike in 2008, I was sent over to Sugar Land on the south side of Houston to help clean up efforts down there. In 2001, Tropical Storm Allison, I was a kid, but I had to help my grandparents completely rebuild their house because they didn't have insurance and they had 2 feet of water all throughout their house. I have never been directly affected personally until this week. This is the first time in my life that I've ever been on the receiving end of volunteer efforts. And guys, I'm not saying this to sound like a tough guy, but I have not cried in my adult life. I have not cried since 2004 when my grandma died. That was the last time on record that I have cried. And over the past week, I have shed so many fucking tears. For the simple fact, I mean, they're tears of happiness and appreciation. Like, it's not sad, but it's just, I'm fucking speechless, man. I really am. These are people that are just doing this stuff out of the pure kindness of their hearts. Now, before I let you guys go, again, I wanna reiterate, I'm fine. We have flood insurance. It's covering all of this. We've already got, everything worked out to where, well, hopefully, this has to air out for 2 weeks. After that 2 weeks is up, then contractors can come in and start rebuilding. And then that's going to take about another 2 weeks. So after that, we can get the flooring in here and all that stuff, and we're already set up for that. So it's looking like, the first week of October, maybe the second week of October, we'll be back in this house and it will be livable again. There are literally hundreds of thousands of people in the city of Houston that cannot say that. There are literally hundreds of thousands of people in the city of Houston that will be out of their homes for years. Honestly, literally for years. So if you want to help, then I would recommend visiting the American Red Cross website and making a donation. Because there are so many people here affected that they need every bit of help that they can get, guys. I mean, honestly, this looks really bad looking at my house. We are fucking lucky that this is all that happened. We still have a house. Not everybody in Houston can say that. That's going to bring this video to an end, guys. If you enjoyed it, click like. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, I fucking love you. Thank you for watching, and take care.